So I'm Patsy Cameron. We're currently at Little Musselroe Bay in the far northeast of Tasmania, a place that we call Tebrakuna. So I grew up on Flinders Island, which is the largest island of the Furneaux group in eastern Bass Strait. I lived in a very strong Aboriginal community. I have fond memories of growing up on Flinders Island because as a young girl, the beach and the bush were my playground. Going to the beach and cooking periwinkles and limpets on a rock, and there's an art to that. So you gather the limpets and turn them upside down on a rock and then put sticks all over the limpets and set them on fire, and when the sticks burn down, the limpets are cooked. Mum was a stringer of shells. The old aunties on Cape Barren Island that passed that knowledge on to Mum as to not just how to string the shells, but more importantly where to find the shells. We didn't actually go with her as children to collect shells because they liked the beaches to be pristine while they're collecting their special shells. And some of the old women, I remember Aunty Madge Mansell and Aunty Gladys Maynard would come and bring little handkerchiefs tied up in the corners full of lovely shells to bring down as gifts for Mum and Nan. So I always dreamed that I was going to be a flight attendant for Ansett A&A, who used to come into the island in those days. It doesn't exist anymore, but that's what I dreamt about, but I didn't grow tall enough. Moved to Launceston eventually, went to uni, did my BA in Aboriginal Studies, Geology, Geography and Archaeology through the University of New England, and then started working at the university after I graduated, and eventually to go back and do a Masters of Aboriginal History. The early beginnings of life on the Bass Strait Islands happened from about 1812 when men who called themselves Straitsmen, they were European men, European mariners, left the colonial river towns of Launceston and Hobart. They would sail their wooden boats close to shore, just off where we are at the moment, and it happened that the leaders of the nation that lived here, one of them was Mannalargenna, to whom I'm directly related, and he would light fires on the beach and bring the Straitsmen ashore. They'd bring their boats ashore and they'd have a big dance and a ceremony, and an agreement would be made in exchange for hunting dogs, which were vital to the ancestors' survival at that time, and food and tea and flour and other luxuries. They exchanged women in marriage with the Straitsmen. So 8 that I know of, 8 of my ancestral grandmothers, or the old women, were exchanged in marriage with these Straitsmen, and they went to the islands, to the Bass Strait Islands with their husbands, and that's where they established their homes and their livelihood. And from those unions, lots of Tasmanian Aboriginal people today can trace their lineage. We are a dynamic culture. If a culture becomes static, it dies. So cultures adapt and evolve over time. And I think just to understand that concept, that what happened in the past impacts on the present and will do into the future. I want to make sure that I leave a legacy. And I guess my book is one of those legacies, but also I've got more to do. I don't think I ever stop.
Thanks for sharing some of your story and some of your history and the history that you know so well about a really special part of Australia up here in northeast Tasmania. Thank you very much.
You're very, very welcome. And I look forward to just finding out what's going to happen next.